It's a two-sided. You gonna leave me one? Enjoy. It's tough.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Erev Tov. It's so good to be together, to have the honor of celebrating Shabbat together and the privilege to bear witness to the installation of Rabbi Polosky. And we want to welcome all the members of Rabbi Polosky's family who are here. We are absolutely thrilled and delighted to have you all here this Shabbat. And we're also delighted to welcome Rabbi Ronnie Keller, a dear mentor of Rabbi Polosky, who's traveled here from his congregation, B'nai Yisrael, in Boca Raton, Florida. And it's an honor to share the bima with you, Rabbi. And of course, we welcome Dan Nichols, who's here too. And we're looking forward to celebrating and hearing your wonderful music after the Oneg. And you've known Rabbi Polosky for many, many years. Not as long as her family, but many, many years. But it's wonderful that you're here with us too. And we're excited to hear your soulful music. And so we are going to begin our service now with L'chuna Ranana. L'chuna Ranana, which can be found in your Siddur on page 12. That's page 12.
L'chuna Ranana, lai, 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 l'Adonai, yai, la, lai, lai, la, lai, lai, Nariya, lai, 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 L'tzor sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, lai, 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 l'Adonai. L'Adonai, lai, la, lai, lai, la, lai, lai, Nariya, Nariya, lai. Litzur Yishenu. Lai, la, lai, lai, la, lai, lai. For all of the wonder in all of God's light, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena. Lai, 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 l'Adonai. Yai, la, lai, lai, la, lai, lai. Naria. Lai, 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 lai. Litzur Yishenu. Lai, la, lai, lai, la, lai, lai.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
So excited to be here with all of you to celebrate my installation. And I want to open us with a prayer, a poem by Alden Solovey called I Sing. I sing because God made music to lift our hearts and souls from the hollow depths of darkness to the highest heights of heaven, from the cold shadows of desire to the gates of radiant hope. I sing because God made music to mark the moments of wonder, to sanctify the moments of sorrow, to soothe, to comfort, to gladden, to cradle us with infinite harmony, to rock us with eternal love. I sing because God made music to give our souls a trumpet, to give our wisdom a tambourine, to give our prayers a voice, to make our lives a song, the instruments of God's blessing. And I am thrilled to have my family come up to the bima to, hi Wyatt, to lead us in the candle blessing. So, Mom, Dad, Robbie, Scott, Adam, Alicia, Harper, Wyatt, and Emerson, come on up. We are on page 2.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we be. By our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness
reminds us of the, I was just gonna go.
Let's go ahead.
As their brightness reminds us of the generation of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
We will continue with Lecha Dodi on page 20.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamo v'zacho b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem ultiferet v'li tehila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekor habracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, Kiva orech kumi ori, Uri, uri, shitaberi, Kevod Adonai alayich nigla, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret pa'ala, Gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
We turn to page 23 and we read responsively. Adonai is sovereign, Adonai is robed in grandeur, Adonai is robed, God is girded with strength. The world stands firm, it cannot be shaken. The ocean sounds, Adonai, the ocean sounds its thunder, the ocean sounds its pounding. Above the thunder of the mighty waters, more majestic than the breakers of the sea is Adonai, majestic on high. Your decrees are indeed enduring. Holiness befits your house, Adonai, for all times. We continue with Shalom Aleichem on page 24.
Lai, 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 la, lai, 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 la, lai, la, 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 lai, la, lai, la, 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 lai, la, 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 lai, la, lai, la, 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 lai, la, lai, la, 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 lai, la, lai, la, 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 lai. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא לי 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 Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. La 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 la
On page 27, teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew my days. You renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. We'll continue with Chatzi Kaddish on page 26.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah B'yalma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon v'yomechon Uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Bagala uvizman kari veimeru Amen Yehi Shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam le'olmei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudeshah Brichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'himeru Amen.
Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence. We continue with the Baruch Hu, our call to worship, and we rise on page 28.
La 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
On page 30, we read Ma'ariv Aravim together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, bechokma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzivaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We turn to page 32 for Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu v'shochbeinu uvkumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei toratecha u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla nege yomam v'layla ve'ahavatcha al tasir Mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Ohev amo Yisrael.
Continue with the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated.
Ve'ahaveta et Adonai Elohecha בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We turn to page 39. We'll read responsively. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. And wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. I'll turn to page 40 for Mi Chamocha.
Lai 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 la lai la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai la lai la lai 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 la la lai lai la lai lai la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Hashkivenu is a prayer that we traditionally say at nighttime after the bedtime Shema. And it is a prayer that is a piece of comfort for us at a time when things can be a little bit uncertain. And through the night, a time when things traditionally were a little bit scary for our ancestors. And tonight, and in evenings just like tonight, sometimes our thoughts are a scary place to be. So we offer up this prayer, Hashkivenu, asking for God's protection and guidance throughout the night. We'll turn to page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ushmor tzeiteinu Eloheinu לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We'll continue with Bishamru on page 44.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לתורתם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לתורתם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לתורתם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. We rise for the tefillah on page 46.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומיתו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. We continue now reading responsively on page 55. That's page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. We continue on page 57. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael, u'tefilatam be'ava tikabel, u'tehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land and Zion restored in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, shotecha levadecha b'yirah na'avod. We turn now to the Hoda'ah prayer. It's a prayer that reminds us to be grateful for all of the blessings that come our way. On evenings such as this, we may be grateful for the gift of the turning of the seasons, when we look outside and see the beautiful budding of the trees around us and the flowers growing. We may be grateful for the gift of being able to come together as community, as friends and families together. And we may be grateful for this extraordinary rabbi who is in our presence, who is being installed this evening. If you have reason to be grateful, I invite you to read this prayer with me at the top of page 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shimcha u'cha na'eh lehodot. We turn now to the prayer for peace on page 60.
We all sing together. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom, ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, tasim le'olam. Shalom, shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, tasim le'olam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. בכל עת ובכל שעה לשלומך. Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Shalom, Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam.
It's meaningful to turn from a prayer in which we think about shalom to thinking of loved ones who are in need of shalom. When we look out at the world and we listen to news reports, and even in our own community here in Milwaukee, we see the brokenness that exists, a brokenness that exists external to ourselves, and yet sometimes we feel that brokenness too within our hearts and within our beings. And so we take a moment and think of those who are in need of a refuat hanefesh or refuat haguf, those who are in need of a healing of spirit or a healing of body. Particularly in our hearts and minds here at Congregation Shalom, we are thinking of Shandel Bat Frida Malka, Julie Borikoff, Margot Roz, Carol Dubin, Samsara Vizcaya, Sharon Rotman, Bob Radke, Lyle Rubel, Jean Bass, Alan Turner, Steve Toplinsky, Myron Dvorkin, Esther Cohen, Lisa Furstadt, Terry Finch, Charav Ilana Miriam Bat Chava, Faye Levin, Hachazan Sarah Rachel Bat Yocheved Alexander, Tia Barrett, Wendy Salzberg, Steve Plotkin, Kathy Peltz, Avram Ben Naftali, Emma and Max, Doug Cruz, Nadiva Sarah Batliba, Carol Rovner, David Goldstein, Marilyn Harmon, Chris St. Martin, Barry Bursack, Debbie Kelly, Janet Meister, Susan Sack, Raitza Tzvia Batshena Etta, Mary Frankowitz, Sophia Rubenstein, Alana Himmelfarb, Charmaine Hayden, Wendy Wiviet, Sue Weller, Kate Wilson, Yocheved Bat Rundel V'chaim, Walter Shapiro, Otto Feller, Avraham Ben Frida, Marla Chakowski, Michael Sychek, David Rotter, Helene Wallenberg, Peter Becker, Natalie Cohen, Steve Isaacson, and Elaine Keller. If there are names that should be pronounced differently than I did, or names that should be added to this list, I invite you to hold those names now in your heart as we turn to the words of the Misha Berach, which can be found on page 253. We say these words, Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. Blessed are you, the source of healing.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mikor HaBracha Le'imoteinu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imoteinu Mikor HaBracha La'avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us all say, Amen.
With these words words of healing still echoing in our hearts and minds, we take this time for silent reflection.
עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. Let's sing some more. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
You know, in many ways, it's unusual to be installing Rabbi Polosky, as she's been our rabbi for almost a year now at Congregation Shalom. And in that time, she has taught lessons that speak to the souls of our community. She stood by the side of many as they have experienced loss or trauma, and she celebrated with us in moments of joy. But as unusual as it may be that we engage in this sacred ritual now, it fits firmly within our tradition. For just a short time ago, Rabbi Polosky's dear family kindled the Shabbat lights, and then, and only after the light was burning bright for us to see, did we bless them. And perhaps it's similar here. It is in recognizing the light that shines forth from Rabbi Polosky in the dignified and gracious way that she teaches our community, in the way that she brings brightness to our lives with her thoughtfulness, and the way she cares deeply for this congregation. She is clearly a light that emanates with Torah, and that light is worthy of blessing. Behind me is the Tree of Life that is such a strikingly beautiful piece of artwork upon our bima. It too radiates with light. Shalom is very much like the tree. Its branches and leaves ascend towards the heavens, and each person that makes this congregation so vibrant and radiant adds to its light. Rabbi Polosky stands in a chain of tradition of those who have served our community as rabbi. From Rabbi Pastor to Rabbi Shapiro, Rabbi Feingold, Rabbi Schickler, Rabbi Wolf, Rabbi Sarada, Rabbi Lehrman, Rabbi Shama, Rabbi Prass, Rabbi Marks, Rabbi Mangold, and somewhere in there I fit in, and Rabbi Polosky. Rabbi Polosky, all of these rabbis have brought light to our tree, and now Rabbi Polosky is the newest branch on that tree of life, lifting us up and supporting our community in its endeavors and the aspirations of wholeness, of peace, and of shalom. And it's a great delight, before we continue with your installation, Rabbi, that I want to present you with a gift from our community. You have to open it. Otherwise, I can't continue with my remarks. So come on and open the gift.
You never open the gift before you open the card. Maybe. All right, do we have a scissors?
We don't, but here, let's try this. That didn't work. That broke the pen. There we go.
Struggling mightily.
There's another thing to unwrap. It's like a Russian doll.
More layers of tape. There we go.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we like to open it up and show people too. So the fabric of our community is now complete. And may this talit reflect the beauty that exists in the tree of life of our community, and may you be woven into the history and the future of this wonderful home that we call Shalom. So mazel tov to you. We can all call it mazel tov. Beautiful, huh? So now I have the honor of introducing Steve Wallace, and I will clean up. That's my job. Steve not only has the joy of serving on our executive committee as vice president, but he served along with Monica Arnstein, who could not be here tonight, as the chair of our search committee. Steve saw all the light and that potential in you, Rabbi Polosky, so it is only right that he has the pleasure of addressing you on this sacred and beautiful occasion. Shabbat Shalom, Steve. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rabbi. I am honored to say a few words on this joyous occasion, celebrating Rabbi Polosky's installation as assistant rabbi here at Shalom. And I speak on behalf of our entire rabbinic search committee, my enthusiastic and multi-talented co-chair, Monica Arnstein, and members Adam Bazelon, Jen Gilbert, Elizabeth Neubauer, Rick Paler, Matt Siegel, and our temple president, Brent Arnold. Monica and I are grateful beyond words for their long hours of hard work, the attentive and close reading they gave to each candidate's written submissions, and the care they devoted during the exhaustive interview process. Our congregation owes them a debt of gratitude, and so do Monica and I. So thank you, Adam, Jen, Elizabeth, Rick, Matt, and Brent. Now, it's not every religious tradition that allows congregants to select their own spiritual leaders. And our committee undertook this responsibility with the recognition that we inherit a burden. We inherit a substantial burden of an almost unimaginable level of institutional success. Shalom has been blessed with 3 extraordinary senior rabbis. And I'd like to pause a moment to invoke their names. Rabbi Harry Pastor, of blessed memory, Rabbi Ron Shapiro, and Rabbi Noah Chertkov. Each one beloved, each bringing singular gifts that have enriched our spiritual lives, and taken together, our senior rabbi set a bar that seems impossibly high. Well, what's a search committee to do? Well, we try to imagine what each of our senior rabbis might have been like as they assumed their first pulpit. Are great rabbis born, or are they made? Does the rabbi make the congregation, or does the congregation shape the rabbi? Well, what is a Jewish ceremony without the asking of difficult questions? But it's into this tradition of rabbinic excellence that we welcome Rabbi Polosky to Congregation Shalom. Rabbi, you impressed our committee with your earnestness in speaking of your love of Torah and of Jewish tradition, and it came from a place, obviously, of deep authenticity. And you stood out among the candidates by demonstrating your immense capacity for empathy, perhaps the most important attribute of a good rabbi. So we wish you all happiness here at Shalom, and we look forward with great enthusiasm to learning and growing with you as you begin your rabbinate. Mazel tov. At your request, you've invited Rabbi Ronnie Keller to share this simcha. Rabbi Ronnie Keller is the senior rabbi at Congregation B'nai Israel in Boca Raton, Florida. And before taking on that role, Rabbi Keller worked as the associate rabbi at Congregation Beth Israel in Scottsdale, Arizona, during which time he supervised Rabbi Polosky. So we're honored to welcome him to Congregation Shalom. Rabbi Keller.
Hi. This is a very nice place. I might stay. I hear it gets colder, though, and so then I might not stay, because Florida doesn't get cold. Ever. Ever. Thank you so much for having me here. Of course, thank you to Rabbi Chertkov and to Cantor Perper and to all of you here at Shalom. I am honored and thrilled to be on this bima with you on this Shabbat, and of course here to share with you for the next 45 minutes to an hour my thoughts about Taylor. I had lunch with her today, and I said, my remarks aren't very long. They're pretty brief. And she said, no, you should talk about me. And I said, okay. So here I am. I'm going to talk about you for the next 45 to 50 minutes. There are also a lot of good desserts. I saw them. I eyeballed them. And so I know exactly where I'm going to right afterwards. And so I'm going to remember the remarks and then know exactly where to go. And so thank you for that as well. There's only one tray of the bundt cakes, and they look delicious. This is really the whole part of what I'm going to say to you. I really have no other content except for just this opening. I met Taylor at Congregation Beth Israel in Scottsdale, and we were in a youth crisis, let's say. Congregation was thankfully great and fabulous, but we were between youth directors. The camp owns the synagogue owns and operates a sleepaway Jewish summer camp also, so lots of youth in our midst, but really no one to take the helm and to bring that staff together, connect our youth together. And so we did lots of searching. And finally came across this person named Taylor Polosky. And so she had an enormously big job because this youth system was pretty broken and in dismay, because even given 3 or 4 years of not having a youth director in a congregation can really cause lots of havoc on the congregation. At least it was true for us in Scottsdale. And along came Taylor. And she was able to pretty much build our youth team from scratch. She was able to connect with the youth group. She was able to talk their lingo. She was able to be on social media with them. And she was able to connect with the youngest kids, the oldest kids, and with the adults who felt like they were also kids, like all of us do. And it was then watching her with her dedication, and I don't know if you've seen that already from Taylor, but you'll see it. Her dedication, her love for what she does, her care, her deep care that she has for people and for Judaism, her meticulousness, wanting to do things the right way, the proper way, the beautiful way, the good way, the deep way. And her genuine good Jewish worry to make sure that everything's good and right and the kids are happy and everyone's happy. That natural ability to connect shine through our kids. And she helped to create that youth group that to this day, although I am no longer at that congregation, I know is very strong and is really in thanks to the building blocks that came from Taylor. Switching gears for a second, and that's for the Torah portion this week. You'll see how it connects. Hopefully, it's my plan. To the Torah portion called Behar. In the book of Leviticus, it's the penultimate Torah portion in the book of Leviticus. I like using the word penultimate. It makes me sound very smart. Penultimate, second to last. It means second to last, if you don't know. I just excited to use the word. Thank you for allowing me to share it with you. So Behar really is about rest, and ultimately it talks about having a full rest, having a sabbatical year, not just for humans, but also for the land itself. And it's my wife's Torah portion from her bat mitzvah, so it's a very popular Torah portion in my house. I don't love the Torah portion, don't tell her, but it's very important to her. So it asks, mostly it talks about this idea of rest. And I want us to talk about for a second about how we rest or how we don't rest. And if I went around and I asked each of you, which I'm not going to do, by the way, but if I went around and asked each of you how we rest, I bet it's complicated, particularly now, because it's very hard I find it very hard to actually rest. Actually take a moment and reflect and rest. And the Torah, I think, is asking us to do that, just to take a break, to really find a way to do it. The world is such a mess, and we can find a way to maybe tune that out, to find that restfulness. And the answer, I think, to that chaos is Shabbat. We get this gift every single week. But to get to that rest, and the Torah portion talks about this, by the way, is the work we have to do. And if you know anything about the last few weeks of I would say even the last month or so of any of the Torah portions, it's been talking about something called the Mishkan. The Mishkan is the tabernacle. The Israelites were building this thing. And that's where the Ten Commandments were all kept. And by the way, eventually the rabbis create the way in which we're not, the work that we're supposed to do and not do that reflects Shabbat. So there's a whole list of things that you're not allowed to do that make Shabbat. And they come from the building of the tabernacle. So they do that work and then they rest. And so here's what I'd like to say to you about Taylor. I'm going to use some of the words that they use in the building of the tabernacle. And that is that they wove things together. It was about weaving. And I promise you that as you get to know her, she's going to weave so much for each of you, personally, collectively, at all ages. She's going to weave Judaism and love and smiles and happiness and joy into this congregation. Another of these words is tying. She's going to tie and unite and connect each of you. She's going to strive to do so. She's going to look to you to help to develop that, to tie things together for each and every one of you in this congregation. As they built the tabernacle, they talked about lighting a fire or igniting something. And Taylor, if you have not spent enough time with her yet, you should, particularly one-on-one. Because when you spend time with Taylor one-on-one, she's igniting. Her smile, go ahead, do it. There it is. Thank you very much. Lights the room up. It's igniting. It lights people. And so spend some time with her. Find some time. She'll reach out to you. You reach out to her. Have some coffee. We just went to have sushi. Have some sushi with her. It's a great sushi place over here. Thanks for taking me all the way here to Milwaukee for sushi. It was delicious. And lastly is building. And I want to go back to this idea of her building because she built that youth group. But she'll also be a builder. And builders need community because that's how we build things. Builders have hard hats and tools. And that's what each one of you and each member of this holy space and congregation can help to contribute in this building of what all of you are doing collectively. And so I want to say this in conclusion of part A. Just kidding. You lucked out. You lucked out that Taylor is here in your midst. You lucked out to have someone who is going to do the work, who is going to weave and tie and connect in all the ways that she'll want to and that you'll want to, and collectively you'll do that together. You will weave the fabric of this holy place together. And so I only wish for all of you, for Taylor, and for all of you, the opportunity to continue to go from strength to strength to strength, and knowing that Taylor, who could bring strength and love and care to something that she had to start from scratch, how much more so to this already established, loved, cared, holy place can she bring to each one of you. May you go from the strength to strength. Mazel tov to her, and mazel tov to all of you. Shabbat shalom.
We are about to open up the Ark. We invite you now to rise, and if Cantor Karen Berman, our Cantor Emerita, and Rabbi Shapiro, our Rabbi Emeritus, would like to step forward and come up onto the bima and open up our Ark doors.
prayers, bestow your blessings on Rabbi Polosky and this congregation. Instill in her wisdom and righteousness, steadfastness and devotion as she assumes the position of assistant rabbi of Congregation Shalom. Grant Rabbi Polosky a wise heart, candor, and courage. May she respond to every challenge with dignity and plant within her a full measure of your compassion, that she might embody the words of our tradition. Be a disciple of Aaron, loving peace and pursuing peace, loving all people and drawing them closer to the Torah. Be a disciple of Miriam, leading with compassion, bringing joy through song and dance, and creating community.
Behold, a good doctrine has been given unto you, my Torah, forsake it not. For it is a tree of life to those who cling to it. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו הזמן הזה.
You may be seated. Shabbat Shalom. I am overjoyed to be here tonight with all of you. This is a long-awaited dream realized. It is incredible to have so many pieces of my Jewish journey together in this room. I knew I wanted to be a rabbi when I was about bat mitzvah age. There are many people who have supported and cheered me on through this journey, and I want to express how truly grateful I am. First, to my search committee, led by Steve Wallace and Monica Arnstein, Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You all were my first interactions with Shalom. From that first interview, I knew that I wanted to be a part of this community. Thank you for believing in me and for choosing me to be your assistant rabbi. Rabbi Noah and Cantor Perper, I am lucky to have you as partners in this holy work. Rabbi Noah, thank you for your mentorship. You push me to hone my craft, and you model the rabbinate that I aspire to, one of empathy and kindness, commitment to community, and love of Jewish text. Cantor Perper, you keep me on my toes. Thank you for your constant positivity and the beautiful music which comes from deep in your soul. Linda, Brian, and Peyton, it is a joy to work with all of you. I know how lucky I am to be part of a senior staff team like ours. Your commitment to our youth and families, education, and all of our congregants is unparalleled. Peyton and Linda, I want to thank you for all of the work that you have done leading up to this installation weekend. You have been behind the scenes, making sure that everything goes off without a hitch, and it would not be as beautiful and meaningful without your support. Dan Nichols, I am incredibly happy that you are here tonight. You are a large part of my Jewish identity. Your music was the soundtrack to my summers at Gucci, my years in Nifty, and weaved throughout my time at every congregation. It makes prayer come alive. The joy and energy you create when you lead song session is the purest in the world. Beyond that, you are a true mensch of a human being. Thank you for your music and your friendship. Rabbi Keller, my mentor, my rabbi, my friend. I cannot begin to thank you enough for pushing me to always be my best and believing in me every step of the way. I am forever grateful that I took that position as Director of Youth Engagement in Scottsdale so that you are in my life. To my family. Mom, you have always been my lighthouse. In challenging moments, you help me recenter and guide me back home, and you are with me to celebrate all of my successes. I love you. Dad, you have always been there for me, whether it was for late night studying to help me get through my high school tests and everything beyond that. You've always been there for me, always to share a strawberry milkshake. I love you very much. Adam, I've always looked up to you as my big brother, and I always will. Adam and Alicia, I cherish our friendship. As we've grown up, I have loved how our relationship has grown closer. I love you both. To Harper and Wyatt and Emerson. You are the smushiest, silliest, best people in the entire world. I love you so much. Congregation Shalom. Congregation Shalom, thank you for welcoming me with open arms and hearts full of love. It is my honor to be your assistant rabbi. I look forward to all that we will do together. In gratitude, I offer this prayer of joy by Alden Solovey. God, thank you for your joy and delight, for wonder and awe, for moments of gladness and celebration. Grant me the ability to breathe gentleness into my hours and seasons so that I live awake to beauty, to holiness, to the radiance that surrounds us. Grant me with the wisdom to arrive each day with passion and humor and song and dance, with smiling eyes, in service to myself, in service to others, in service to your holy name. Amen.
We come to that section of the service which is found on page 282. It's the Aleinu. Now, before I ask you to rise, I want to say something on behalf of Rabbi Pastor, who many of you probably didn't know, but was the founding rabbi of this congregation. Aleinu is a prayer which bids us to stand, to ascend, to arise. When I first came to Congregation Shalom and spoke with Rabbi Harry Pastor, who was a remarkably kind and thoughtful man, he said, one of our endeavors here at Congregation Shalom is to incorporate the concept of beauty within our community. How to do so? By being thoughtful, having integrity, being kind, understanding what really is going on within the soul of another person. He said, I was always proud of this congregation because that which we would try to incorporate in every program is beauty, to lift up, to be people of dignity. That was certainly true of, for example, Cantor Karen Berman, who brought great beauty to this congregation, and this wonderful team of clergy, of cantor and rabbis, who bring enlightenment to each other and to each of us within the congregation. The reason I'm bringing this up is after meeting Rabbi Polosky just one time, I could see in my mind what it was that Rabbi Pastor was talking about. Because, Taylor, you have a certain beautiful quality of dignity, of refinement, of respect for others. There's a sense of quietude and yet strength and wisdom which is imparted in your very manner. Felt that the very first time that we met you. And you, as her family, raised an elegant and devoted and dear person who helps us ascend, as Aleinu represents, to be able to raise children to become adults who have the capacity to inspire others to do all that which is noble, is something you've done for your daughter, your sister, who has then in turn done that for us. And we thank you for it as we appreciate the endeavor of always arising, and turn to page 282 as we stand for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
May be seated. We turn our thoughts now to those who have gone from life. On page 292, we reflect on the preciousness of all of our dear ones who have entered into life eternal. Page 292, reading number 8. When cherished ties are broken and the chain of love is shattered, only trust and the strength of faith can lighten the heaviness of the heart. At times, the pain of separation seems more than we can bear. But if we dwell too long on our loss, we embitter our hearts and harm ourselves and those about us. The psalmist said that in his affliction he learned the law of God. And in truth, grief is a great teacher when it sends us back to serve and bless the living. We learn how to console and comfort those who, like ourselves, are bowed with sorrow. We learn when to keep silent in their presence and when a word will assure them of our love and concern. And thus, even when they are gone, the departed are with us, moving us to live as in their higher moments they themselves wish to live. We remember them now. They live in our hearts. They are an abiding blessing. We recall with reverence in our hearts those who have passed into life eternal, but so recently. During this past week, Rosalie Kahn and Gail Spitzer. May they rest in peace. They were dear and dynamic and beautiful people. We link their names with these individuals whose Shloshim, 30-day mourning period, is being observed. Noah Arnold, Ronald Cohn, Harriet Dizak, Adeline Domnitz, Jordan Fishman, Ellen Futterman, Pauline Gale, Leslie Germain Martin, Cyril Newman, Cecilia Rinsky, Ruth Schaller. And these individuals whose yortzites are observed during this week: Mildred Stillman, James Bacall, Albert Brisman, Jacob Cohen, Morris Cohn, Sarah Dolgan, Ben Druck, Harold Dubman, Rose M. Eder, Sherwood Gorens, Lowell Grossman, Charles Horwitz, Frida Hurwitz, Edgar Inselberg, Irma Jacobson, Stephen Kagan, George T. Klein, Jack Kohlenberg, Hannah Kravitz, Lindsay Lazier, Saul Lemmel, Florence Lukach, Maurice Marks, Libby Stein-Mushin, Leonard Naiman, Samuel Napick, Seymour Nelson, Patricia Oppenheimer, Olga Ottenstein, David Parr, Ruth Pearson, Aaron Rosen, Lillian Solomon Rothman, Gary Sapiro, Barbara Schwertzer, Clarice Schiff, Nathan P. Schnoll, Edith Schuster, Frida Slotnick, Ben Slotnick, Sonia Sosoff, Bernard Stein, David Stern, George Sussman, Rudy Wagner, Benjamin Wagner, Ben Weissman, Rosalind Wasserman, Warren Stewart Weiss, Jean Werner, Miriam Willinson, Marion Winston, Anna Yano, Isaac Young. Those whom we name in our hearts, and if you would wish to call out the name of a person whose yahrzeit is being observed or a recent passing, as I glanced about the sanctuary, feel free to call out those names. But rest in peace. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Anyone else? Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may their memories all live on as an everlasting blessing. We think, too, of all those who have perished, particularly in Ukraine and throughout Europe, those who have perished due to war, due to hatred, due to narrow-mindedness. May we please somehow in our universe find the abilities within our souls to come together with love, as the Almighty has taught us to do. Turning now to page 294, we rise as a congregation and join in the sacred words of Kaddish. Yit kadal v'yit kadash shmei rabbah, bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agola uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mivorach leolam ulomei almaya. Yit barach v'yish tabach v'yit poar v'yit romam v'yit naseh v'yit adar v'yit alev v'yit alal shmei dekudisha berichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'yimru amen yehi shlama rabba min shamaya V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imramav, hu ya'asei shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Amen. May the source of peace who sends peace to us, may there be peace for all of our dear ones, and may there be peace within our world as we say, amen.
You may be seated. It is now a joy to call upon our congregational president, Brent Arnold, to ascend to the bima to share some words of reflection as well as all of the wonderful things that are happening here at Congregation Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Brent.
What a wonderful service tonight. A lot of great history standing up on this bima. It's really nice to recognize that. So thank you, Rabbi, and what an honor it is tonight to be a part of this wonderful installation ceremony for our new Rabbi Taylor Pozlowski. Okay, so maybe it's not so new anymore, but we are really happy to have you be an integral part of our community. Getting to know you more over the past year and seeing you make a meaningful influence on our synagogue is a real joy to see. I love watching you interact with our youth and inspire our littlest congregants with stories that leave meaningful impacts on their growth. It is really wonderful to see that. So thank you so much for putting all your passion into our synagogue. I look forward to making many, many more memories with you here at Congregation Shalom. And those memories will start in just a few minutes at our Grand Oneg celebration, where we will celebrate Rabbi Polosky by welcoming Jewish musician Dan Nichols to our community. Yeah, I know a lot of people are excited. Dan's music is well known in the Jewish camping world, and we look forward to his concert performance tonight. I look forward to singing and dancing with all of you. I would also like to welcome Rabbi's family to Congregation Shalom. Thank you for being here tonight and joining us all the way from Kansas City. I know how excited that Rabbi was to have you here, and it's wonderful for you to be here, so thank you. And unfortunately, due to the weather tomorrow, our dog park Havdalah has been canceled, but I'm sure we'll have it again sometime in the future. This Sunday, May 22nd, will be the last day of the school year with a family fun religious school learning day starting at 9:30 in the morning. Then join us Sunday evening as we welcome the Lag BaOmer. We will meet at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at Cedarburg Creek Farm. There we will have a hayride, a train ride, visit a petting zoo, and have s'mores around a bonfire, all while still counting the Omer. It sounds like a lot of fun, so I'm excited for that. Also on Sunday at 4 o'clock, you can join our Dayenu Circle for a moral call for peace and climate justice. Sign up online to join everyone from Dayenu virtually from New York City. I'd also like to wish a mazel tov to Harper Bazelon and the entire Bazelon family, as Harper is called to the Torah and becomes a bat mitzvah tomorrow. What a wonderful accomplishment. Our next Shalom Voices for Justice Committee meeting is next Tuesday, May 24th at 7 o'clock p.m. on Zoom. I know there will be a lot to talk about, so please feel free to join us on Zoom if interested. The link will be put in Monday's email. Then on Thursday night, May 26th at 7 o'clock, is our last Shalom Board meeting for the year before our annual meeting. A reminder to everybody tonight that any congregant is welcome to attend our monthly board meetings, so feel free to join us. Also, don't forget that if you are signed up for an overnight Jewish summer camp this year, you can also sign up for a free special Congregation Shalom camp t-shirt. You can then wear your t-shirt to our camp-style Havdalah on Saturday, June 11th at 7:30 p.m. here at Shalom. Then next month, on June 24th, we look forward to another very exciting installation of our magnificent Cantor Purpur, where more events are still in the works. I too look forward to that celebration and lots more of Cantor's musical festivities. We also look forward to having our very first Gary Paler Memorial Shalom Golf Outing on June 26th at Songbird Golf Club to help benefit our school's education programming. There will be breakfast, golf, lunch, and also a whole lot more fun. So please sign up your golf group for this exciting event. Lastly, don't forget about our weekly Minyan service, Saturday Torah study and Shabbat services, Tuesday's adult education, and Thursday's What's New. I want to wish you all a wonderful Shabbat, and I'd like to wish Rabbi Polosky a special mazel tov on your installation this evening. Congregation Shalom should always feel like this is your home. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
We will conclude our services this evening with a different rendition of Oseh Shalom. Yeah? Yep.
Should we do Kiddush first?
We should do Kiddush first. You're right. I got too excited. I'm too excited about those desserts and Dan Nichols.
Me too, but we Kiddush first.
Please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. L'chaim l'shalom.
A nice vintage. And now we will close with Oseh Shalom.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. La 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 la.
Shabbat Shalom.